Hey, welcome. Today, we're going way beyond the balance sheet. We're going to dive into a skill that's absolutely critical for any commercial lender, but honestly, it's often overlooked. And that's really understanding the world a business operates in. So let me ask you a question right out of the gate. When you're looking at a loan application, what do you think is the single biggest risk? Just take a second. Is it the company's debt load, their cash flow, the collateral they're putting up? Well, while all those things are super important, the biggest threat, it might not be hiding in the financial statements at all. You can literally have a company with perfect numbers that's still an incredibly risky bet. And that's what we call the unseen risk. Just imagine this for a second. A company with fantastic profits, brilliant management, a balance sheet that's rock solid. Sounds great, right? But what if that company makes DVDs? Or maybe they run a chain of one-hour photo labs. You see, a perfectly healthy company can go under if it's swimming in a sick or even a dying industry. This is what we're talking about when we say industry risk. And here's the key. It's all about those huge external forces. Things like new technology, shifting regulations, or just, changing tastes. They're way outside of any single company's control, but they can hammer the performance of every single business in that sector. And that is why looking at the industry isn't just some extra credit assignment. No, it's the absolute foundation for making a good credit decision. If you skip this part, you're pretty much flying blind. A really solid analysis is built in layers. You always start with the big picture, the industry risk analysis. That's what gives you the context, the frame of reference you need to make sense of a company's specific business risks and eventually its financials. Because let's be honest, the numbers on a spreadsheet only tell a story if you understand the world they live in. And this quote just nails it. The real point here isn't about you becoming a world-class expert in every single industry overnight. It's about using this kind of analysis to sharpen your focus on what really matters. It helps you figure out how well a management team is actually steering their ship through the real-world storms they're facing. So how do you actually do this? Consistently and without missing anything major? Well, you use a practical framework. And we're going to walk through a really simple but super powerful tool I like to call the 7-point risk checklist. What's so great about this checklist is that it takes this big, kind of abstract idea, analyze the industry, and breaks it down into simple, focused questions. You're looking at the basics, like its cost structure, where it is in its life cycle, what drives profits. Then you dig into its weak spots, like is it too dependent on one supplier? Can customers just jump to a competitor easily? How much does government regulation mess with things? Altogether, these 7 questions give you an amazing 360-degree view of the entire landscape. Okay, so you've used the checklist, you've spotted the major industry risks. What now? Well, this part isn't about finding excuses to just say no to a deal. It's about moving from analysis to strategy. It's about turning those risks you found into smarter, tougher, more resilient loan structures. Let's make this real. Say you spot the issue. High operating leverage. This means the business has huge fixed costs, so even a small drop in sales could be a disaster. So, what's the strategy? You don't just cross your fingers and hope sales stay high. No. You verify that management is getting ahead of this by locking in sales with long-term contracts. Or here's another one. The issue? A huge dependence on one supplier. If that supplier has a problem, a fire, a strike, the whole industry could grind to a halt. So your strategy is to confirm that the management team has a plan B. Are they out there finding backup suppliers? Or even better, can they change their product mix so they're not so reliant on that one source? Okay, last example, and this one's a biggie. The issue is that customers can just up and leave for a competitor who's a little bit cheaper. That is a massive vulnerability. So your strategy is to really dig into management's plan. What are they doing to make customers stickier? Are they building in real costs for switching? Or are they getting their own costs down so they can go toe-to-toe on price? See? This is how analysis leads directly to action. The moment you start thinking this way, everything changes. You're not just a paper pusher processing a loan anymore. You are developing a real competitive edge that makes you a much, much smarter and more effective lender. So let's wrap this all up. When you get good at this, you're not just checking boxes anymore. You can actually see what's coming down the road. You can focus your analysis where it's going to have the most impact. And at the end of the day, you become a partner who builds smarter, stronger deals that protect both your client and your own institution. Look, financial statements will tell you where a company has been, but a really solid industry analysis, that helps you see the road ahead. So the real question is, now that you can see the whole picture, how are you going to build your next deal differently?